I might stay with a friend of mine that has a place down there. He has a place he lives in Raleigh, but he has a place in Charlotte. Sometimes he'll.
All right, viewers and listeners, we'll rock and roll. A lot to talk about on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, quite a victory for Tony Elliott and Virginia football on national TV Saturday evening. It was a hell of a win for Wahoo Nation. A lot of Wahoo sticking their chest out with pride all week long, certainly into Sunday, Monday, and heck, I'm still doing it today. A lot we're going to cover on the program, ladies and gentlemen, including Virginia's victory against the Virginia Tech Hokies. The Hoos have humiliated the Hokies, in fact, and they've claimed the Commonwealth Cup. It's sweet redemption for a program and team, an athletic department that had lost 19 of 20 and 23 of 25 going into the contest. Now Virginia finds itself in an ACC championship matchup with Duke, and yes, it's difficult to beat a team twice, but I'd rather face the Duke Blue Devils than the SMU Ponies, to be very straightforward. And the line has moved from an opening 2.5 to 3.5 this morning, depending on where you shop. We'll talk all this with the Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, Hootie Ratcliffe. We'll talk ACC news and notes. We'll talk Virginia Tech, James Franklin pooling recruits from Penn State. We'll talk James Madison University. I got a fantastic message from a JMU booster, a connected guy that I'll relay to Hootie. The coaching carousel and more. Like and share the show. Like and share the show. The Tuesday edition of the Jerry Show with our star, the Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, Jerry Hootie Ratcliffe, who, ladies and gentlemen, is a household name. J-Dubs, we looking good over there, live on the group? You're doing a hell of a job, Judah Wickower.
He always does.
All-around hell of a job. Sincerely appreciate that. You do, I'd say, Hootie's very generous with the always. So I'm going to give him 95% of the time over there. But that's still pretty damn good. That's still pretty damn good.
That's way too much.
It's still very good. That's more than most. Let's put it that way. Most just showing up to work on time is they consider work. Judah shows up to work on time and then crushes work, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, he's a wizard.
He is a wizard. My friend, we can rock and roll when you're ready. J-Dubs. Man, comments are coming in quickly, Hootie.
Good.
Yeah, we got a
Bring
lot of Wahoos here. Good Tuesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and thank you kindly for joining us on the Jerry and Jerry Show. It's an absolute pleasure to connect with you guys on the I Love CVille network on a show that spotlights a household name, Jerry Ratcliffe, Hootie, as he's known from, I'd say, Maine to South Florida, from the Eastern Shore to San Diego. This man knows media like the Pope knows holy water, and he's followed Virginia basketball and Virginia football for a couple of generations, ladies and gentlemen. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast today, including the Who's humiliating, hammering the Hokies to claim the Commonwealth Cup. I'm a huge fan of alliteration, if you haven't realized this. I learned some of these tactics and tricks from Jerry Ratcliffe while sitting next to him at the Daily Progress. I was on my crappy little cubicle next to him, which he had the prime cubicle space of the newsroom, and I look over in his cubicle, and his cubicle is completely lined with awards and accolades, while mine was lined with the agate schedule in the 1 a.m. shift. But that's what you do to break into the business. I took a lot of phone calls for the volleyball coaches, for the agate squad, and I loved agate. That was one of my favorite parts of the sports page. In fact, the part that I went to, why don't we get Hootie Ratcliffe on the show here? The part I usually went to first during the sports page was page 2. The box scores, the standings.
People used to eat.
I love that stuff.
That scoreboard page.
Scoreboard page.
Yeah. Not just here, but all around the country.
Yeah.
I think people did.
I don't
love
think
the scoreboard page.
I don't think the average Joe or the average Jennifer understands what agate is, but it was the box score page.
Yeah. It's all the standings, box scores, statistics, etc.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome, and I had to break in doing even worse stuff than
I know you did. You should tell them how you broke into the business. I would love to hear this.
Oh, well, I'd never planned on being a sports writer. I wanted to be a football coach. And the sports editor in my hometown was one-man sports staff, and he needed some help, and he asked me to go cover an event. I had no idea what to do, and he said, well, you know sports? I said, yeah, and he said, because you played sports. He said, you know how to write. You're in college, right? You should be able to write something. I said, yeah, I guess so. So I tried it out. It came out pretty good. He liked it. Part-time for him, but while I was part-timing, the newspaper asked me to do a lot of other things that I didn't really want to do, but it helped my education. I covered the police beat some. I covered a woman's flower club meeting. I covered a plane crash in the mountains and helped carry the dead body out of the mountains.
Really? I didn't know that.
Covered a murder trial. So I had a pretty wide resume, I guess, coming into before the full-time sports popped up. I even had to do the horoscope. Sometimes I would mess with that a little bit, so I hope I didn't ruin anybody's life.
I did not. You got as a cub reporter, when you're breaking into the business, how do you carry a dead body? Did you say out of the mountains? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
You got to tell me that story.
Yeah, it was in Southwest Virginia, and there was a plane missing, I was just a pilot, nobody else in it. And a photographer of mine who knew the mountains a lot more than I did said, we need to go. And he says, you're going to have to report this. There's nobody else available. So me and the photographer took off, got to the mountain, had to climb through brush up the mountain a couple miles. The game warden was there, and state police was there, and they got the body out of the plane, and he'd been there for several days. So it was in the wintertime, if I recall. It was cold. State police refused to carry him down the mountain, so they put him on a makeshift stretcher, which was not very sturdy. It's essentially two poles and a canvas, and the three of us, which was really hard for three people to carry a stretcher instead of four. The game warden and the photographer and myself carried the guy down the mountain, downhill, through the brush, no trail, a couple of miles. I was really hacked off because I had just bought a brand new English fog coat. Didn't have a lot of money in those days, and I was really proud of that coat. And the guy's hand kept falling off of the stretcher, and blood was getting all over my coat. It ruined the coat. So that was my one experience with a plane crash.
And now you're a Virginia Sports Hall of Famer. If memory serves correct, is it 51 or 52 ACC tournaments on the near horizon for you?
One of those.
51 or 52.
I'll lose count.
He's got a huge weekend in Charlotte this weekend. He's got an incredibly busy week. Viewers and listeners, listen to the life of a content creator, Jerry Ratcliffe of jerryratcliffe.com. Give him a snapshot of your schedule this week.
Well, today we go from here to the interview Virginia players for the week over at the football center and the Hardy Football Center, and then we interview the coordinators after that. Then tomorrow is National Signing Day over there. Basketball game tomorrow night, Virginia versus Texas in the SEC shootout. At the moment, I don't think there's anything scheduled for Thursday, and I'll knock on wood, so I might have time to breathe. Friday, there's a football press conference in Charlotte. Saturday at noon, there's a basketball game with Dayton at noon in Charlotte, and followed by the championship game at 8 o'clock.
Unbelievable. It's a busy week. It's that beautiful time of year when football and basketball overlap, and there's no better time of year with overlapping sports than right now, as both Virginia football and Virginia basketball are showing promise. The football team at the pinnacle, at the summit, and an opportunity to head into uncharted territory, the college football playoff. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Yes, the Duke Blue Devils are on the very near horizon. An ACC championship clash, nationally televised ball game. It's an 8 o'clock kick on ABC on a neutral site in Charlotte. And it's a big-time ball game, folks. The Devils weaseled their way into the ACC championship. Coach Diaz kind of standing up for his Dukies, saying, we belong here. The rest of the country saying, no way, Jose. Virginia certainly belongs there at 10-2 overall. Hootie, the line opened at 2.5, UVA favored. It's moved as of this morning, depending on where you shop, to 3.5. The old adage is it's difficult to beat a team twice. I get that. A cliche. I'd certainly, as a Virginia fan, rather face Duke than the SMU Ponies, however.
I agree. I think SMU's a more dangerous team because they're multifaceted as opposed to Duke, which is fairly one-dimensional. They have to throw the ball to win, and Virginia did a great job of shutting that down last time. They held the guy to 100 yards less than his average per game, and Duke just couldn't run the ball. Manny Diaz said in the teleconference Sunday night that we had with him that we really struggled to block Virginia's front because those guys are really good. And that's going to be highlighted in a story I have on the defense. Should be posted already, but I don't think it is.
The Coach Diaz highlights in a presser while standing up for the Duke football team that the contest against UVA in Durham was Duke's worst showing of the year.
Yeah.
Where UVA absolutely manhandles the Dukies on home turf. Let's talk about the Virginia Tech game. Goodness gracious, the tone was set from the opening drive with an interception. And from there, Virginia stepped on Virginia Tech's throat. And Tony Elliott, if he wanted to, could have run this score up. He chose to instead call off the dogs. I want to show, and I'm going to dig a little bit here, the class displayed by Tony Elliott without running up the score versus the lack of class we've seen from Virginia Tech in the past with running up the score. There was a stark contrast there with character and class, and I'll leave it at that. Scatter shooting this game, where do you want to begin? The Cam Robinson commentary is something that folks are asking for, but anywhere you want to go in the Virginia Tech matchup.
Yeah, we said all week that Virginia Tech couldn't throw the football, and they were pretty much a one-dimensional team, and that Drones was not a good passer. And John Rudzinski and his staff certainly knew that and took full advantage of it. Still, they had to deal with Tech's running game, which was the number 2 rushing offense in the ACC. Shut them down very well. And that Tech almost refused to throw it because I guess they just knew they couldn't. Until Drones completed that pass for a touchdown against Virginia subs late in the game, he was only 3 of 15 passing, Jerry, for 21 yards before that pass. Virginia's defense did such a good job. They held Tech to 7 consecutive 3-and-outs, which is the most that anybody's done against a Virginia Tech team since 1989. Just incredible stuff that Coach Rudd and his crew managed to put up in that game, and that was the defense is playing phenomenal football.
Phenomenal football.
I mean, they took away Duke's strengths, they took away Tech's strengths, they've dominated. Even in the Wake and the Cal game, they dominated. It wasn't on them that they lost the Wake game. So the defense has been spectacular.
Spectacular defense, absolutely spectacular. And Virginia's defense is going to have to play well against Duke. We have to highlight injuries on defense, and backups or second stringers filling the place of now legends, stars. A middle linebacker, and why don't you begin with some commentary there? It was disheartened to see one of Virginia's best players, if not his best player, Virginia's best player, out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it was it's a shame that Cam Robinson couldn't be around to enjoy the fruits of his labor, so to speak. He's by far the best football player on this team, and someone who is a game wrecker. And this is the time of year that a player like that flourishes. And it's just a shame that he suffered an ACL and is missing the rest of the season. Things like that happen, and to Virginia's credit, and I'm not sure, I'm sure that Virginia's not the only team that has the next man up mentality, but they've done a really good job with that. They haven't dropped off drastically at any spot this season, and that's, I hate to keep harping on this, but that's because they did an incredible job in the portal of building their depth all over the field. And Maddox Marcellus, I think they call him Dog or Mad Dog, has done a good job of stepping in to the linebacker role. He had an interception the other night against Tech, and then Landon Danley has been solid. They've just got so many guys that it's incredible the way that Coach Rudd is able to rotate these players. And, you know, against Tech, because they dominated so much, they only had 47 snaps they had to play. When you're rotating guys as much as they are, everybody's fresh. So, and you're right, they could have run the score up. Kind of say that I would have.
I wanted them to run up the score, frankly.
but he wouldn't do it. So you know, credit to him.
Yeah, credit to him. I was hoping they would run up the score, frankly, with some of the things.
I think most people would in that circumstance.
Yeah, especially with some of the stuff that Virginia Tech has done in the past.
Yeah.
Especially 2 years ago.
Right.
When they came out after kicking the bejeebus out of UVA, running up the score to dance and celebrate on the logo.
Yeah.
Because that was classless. Comments are coming in extremely quickly. Cliff Daisy's watching on the Eastern Shore. He's got some comments. Stephanie Wells Rhodes has got some comments. Chad Wood says, Hootie, we'll see you in Charlotte. He's going to make the trip. Stephanie and her family are going to make the trip. Chad Wood is a big-time football fan, he's a football coach, frankly. He says he's shocked that the line is 3.5 points right now. He's shocked that the line opened at 2.5. He thought it would be Virginia by 7.5. I was also surprised it was 2.5 to 3.5, but heck, Vegas keeps building casinos. Stephanie says this, wahoo wah, I got just what I wanted. It was a great night. Not crazy about putting the second string in and letting them score, but I do understand why. I echo what Stephanie said. I felt the same. Cliff Daisy says, good morning, gentlemen. It's cold with driving rain on the Eastern Shore today. Cliff, that's very much how it is right now in downtown Charlottesville, 2 miles from Scott Stadium. Cliff also says, what a wonderful game on Saturday night. The Who's were a class act. Would you touch on visitor prospects and those who have committed? We can talk recruiting here with signing day on the corner. Let's see. Also on YouTube, it's Cardle Bell 7555 says, Carl to Bell, is there any hope for any of our players to return if we have a good bowl run? For example, Dakota Twitty would be huge. Shift God 137 says on YouTube, I'll be down in Charlotte this weekend. There's a deal for $81 for end zone lower bowl seats on the ACC website for Wahoo fans. All right, so a lot of Wahoo fans watching the show. Shift God 137 on the ACC website, $81 lower bowl end zone tickets. And he's encouraging many Virginia fans to buy them. If you're watching on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. Hootie, let's talk about Chandler Morris in that Virginia Tech game. This team has an unquestioned leader, and it's Chandler Morris. Oh,
well, without a doubt. I mean, without Chandler Morris, they wouldn't be there. There's no question about it. A lot of people gave him grief when he got here from North Texas last winter, I guess it was winter, after the season anyway. And when he said that I didn't come all the way from Texas to Virginia not to win a championship, and people were laughing at him. And he has the last laugh. He's been spectacular most of the year. Solid the other night, 21 of 35, 182 yards. Was only sacked once, no touchdowns, but he also ran it 4 times for 29 yards and a touchdown. He's just been the ultimate quarterback, the ultimate leader of a team, and that's what you want from your quarterback. He's a tough kid. We've talked about his football IQ and just his overall passing ability. He can do some incredible things. His old coach at North Texas, who just took the Oklahoma State job, said he's coached a lot of quarterbacks in his time, including I think he might have said he coached Patrick Mahomes and a couple other guys, and he said that of all the quarterbacks he's coached, the most accurate passer on the run is Chandler Morris. So that's a pretty huge compliment. So, but the guy's, he's just solid. That's all I can say about him.
I mean, he's a winner. He's a leader. He's accurate. He's got intangibles. He's heady. He's nuanced. He's experienced. I mean, he's a coach's son. He's turning 25. Chandler Morris is turning 25 years old, ladies and gentlemen. I'll emphasize that again. He's a few days younger than Jaden Daniels, the Washington Commanders quarterback, Chandler Morris. Chandler Morris will have a shot at the NFL if there's something that holds Chandler Morris back. Maybe it's the height with Chandler Morris, but we've seen quarterbacks of similar stature have long careers in the NFL. Russell Wilson, Drew Brees. I mean, it's not the NFL of old, Hootie, where you're a 6'4", 6'5", drop back passer with the cannon of an arm anymore.
No, there's a lot more guys who have fluidity to their game and can move the pocket and sprint out and run the ball, etc. And it's going in that direction. And I would think he'll definitely get a shot. Bronco Mendenhall used to have this thing about quarterbacks. He said, I judge a quarterback by whether he can get me to a championship game. And certainly Bryce Perkins did that. And now Chandler Morris has done the same thing. He's gotten him to the championship game. And that puts him in an elite category at Virginia for sure.
Chad Wood says he was one of those guys laughing at Chandler Morris when he said he was going to come to Charlottesville and win an ACC championship. Chad, I'll include myself as well in that group. What do you think of the Duke matchup? Let's talk about what has to get done against Duke. Let's talk about a turnaround of a week, a neutral site, a team that both these teams know each other well.
Yeah, they do, and I think Virginia's biggest challenge is to come out of the gate fast and establish its running game, shut down Duke's running game, put the pressure on Mensa again, and for Chandler and the passing game to attack Duke's secondary. Duke has a very weak secondary, some freshmen back there, and you just can't change that in a week's time. They're going to have to do what they do, and they're coming off wins over Carolina and Wake Forest, and so they're playing pretty good football. But
Duke's a good football team.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they could have. It's like Manny said the other day. He said, we could have scheduled
cupcakes,
some cream cake, cream puffs, and but they chose to play a more challenging schedule, and he said it made us a better football team, and he said, isn't that what it's supposed to be about? You get better as the season goes along. And he said we learned a lot of things about our team, et cetera. So they are a good football team. They've beaten some good teams along the way. And it's up to Virginia just to come out and reestablish itself and play the same kind of game it did in Durham 2 weeks ago. I think they can do that. And again, the personnel on either side hasn't changed that much and won't. You might be able to throw in a few wrinkles, but it's basically you dance with who brung you.
Philip Dow, the mayor of Scottsville, is thinking a low-scoring game, which could be scary for the Who's. He's watching in Scottsville. We got this coming from South Florida and the Panhandle, and then another comment coming from South Florida. Let's go to the Panhandle first. Can you guys let us know why you'd prefer Duke over SMU for this ACC championship? I stayed up and watched the SMU game. I stayed up late. That was a West Coast start. California upset them. Mm-hmm. Cal jumped out to an early lead. SMU comes back with an incredible performance in the second half, takes the lead, and then Cal, in the end of the fourth quarter, wins this contest. SMU had a shot to win this contest in the second half.
We got back to the press box after all the player and coaches interviews just in time to see the missed field goal at the end.
Yeah, missed field goal at the end. Put in perspective for the viewers and listeners, the SMU Duke, why Duke is maybe a better matchup than the Ponies.
I just think SMU is a better football team all around. They have a decent running game. They have a solid quarterback as well. They throw the ball well. I think their defense is not great, but it's a little better. I just think SMU is a little bit better football team than Duke and a little more harder to prepare for. SMU was in the ACC championship game last year. They were counting on being in it 2 years in a row, which is not easy to do unless you've been Clemson the past 10 or 15 years. But I just think they're just a better overall football program, a little bit better team. Again, you're familiar with Duke. You know what worked and didn't work the last time, and I think it gives you kind of a leg up in preparation.
Jeremy Wilson is watching in Eastern Tennessee. He makes the comparison with Chandler Morris and Pavia, Diego Pavia, the Vanderbilt quarterback. He says both are about the same size, both win ball games, but Chandler Morris is a class act and humble. Pavia is an arrogant you-know-what, and he's constantly taunting players. Chad makes the comparison of Chandler Morris with Doug Flutie, a former Buffalo Bills great, in stature and moxie and winnability. Another comment from Florida. Can we talk Des Kitchings? Seems to us he deserves some attention.
Oh, yeah, no question. And I think we've been giving him that as the season progressed. They're still every now and then he'll come up with something that makes you scratch your head, but generally he's they've got the
that jump pass took some balls, so I'm going to say that. Okay.
They on the season, they got more yards. I haven't checked this week, but going into the weekend, they had the most productive offense in the ACC. Had run the most plays. I think I don't know if I think they had the most yards. They might have been second in average yards per game or something, but it's right up there. And I agree with you. He's come up with some imaginative plays, like they keep finding ways to use that direct snap.
The Wildcat.
Because people were, kind of looking for catching on, knowing that Jamari's probably going to get that call most of the time on the goal line. And so they keep trying to find different formations or different things to as eye candy to kind of throw the defense off, and that was brilliant. I thought the little pop pass where he just lobbed it over the defense after they thought he was going to run it, and the tight end that was Enos that caught that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And who's always open, it seems like. A terrific tight end. and all he had to do was just kind of stand there and wait for the ball. But yeah, that took some brass for sure. And you know, he's done a pretty good job of attacking people. I know the offense has not rolling up the kind of yards that it did early in the season. We knew that was impossible to average 45 points and 585
Competition
yards
has gotten stiffer as well.
Yeah,
and the tape is out.
Absolutely. So, you know, they have to continually tweak things and add things and take things out throughout the season, self-scouting and sticking with what works. And you got to give a lot of credit to the offensive line for making that happen and protecting Morris and keeping him upright.
This comment has come from Pennsylvania. He says, "Gentlemen, the stars have absolutely aligned for this football team. Think about what our thoughts were at the beginning of the season, where we are today, and to face Duke in the ACC championship is yet another star aligning for Tony Elliott and the Who's." I totally agree with that. Fortuitous is a word I would use for this team. This comment's come in about Duke making the ACC championship. They're not complaining. But how in God's name is Duke UVA's opponent in the ACC championship? It's called tiebreakers.
Yeah, that's something that
that'll change.
Yeah, it has to. Todd from Pennsylvania, I assume that was Todd. We met him over to Greenbrier. He came down for that game. He's right. I mean, the stars have aligned unbelievably for this football program, and they've taken advantage of it. And who knows what else is out there. But, yeah, the tiebreaker system has got to change. It not just in the ACC, it's all over the country. And there's a lot of things in college football that has to change. The coaches are not happy with you've got, like this week, for example, you've got the teams preparing for conference championships. You've got National Signing Day. You got the playoffs coming up. You got the portal coming up. They need to realign their calendar and make it make sense, and it doesn't make sense, and it's putting untold pressure on programs to try to do all this. I mean, it's going to have to be like the NFL soon if it stays this way and hire all kinds of front office personnel to handle all the off-the-field stuff. It's just too much of a workload. I don't care what a coach is making. That's just too much pressure on anybody to try to handle all that in one big glob. And then the tiebreaker systems, now that we have mega conferences, so to speak, they should have seen this coming. And I guess they did, because there's like 8, 9, 10 tiebreakers, which are – you might have to go to Oxford to be able to understand all of it.
Amen, brother.
But, and they need to simplify this. It's just too complicated.
I'll read some commentary from a massive JMU fan. He's actually a JMU booster. He sent me a DM. He's not given me the green light to use his name, so I'll do it in off-the-record, anonymous fashion. But I know he will allow me to relay these thoughts on the show. He watches the show routinely. I'll get to that in T-minus 90 seconds. One more on this topic for Hootie. Take the Lane Kiffin situation.
Oh.
The Lane Kiffin situation it seems slimy to me. Almost gives me like the creeps a little bit. I mean, Kiffin is in a backroom meeting with the athletic director and the chancellor. And reports from national media have suggested, if you don't let me coach Ole Miss and keep coaching them, I'm going to take all my assistant coaches right now to LSU, and you're going to be left with no coaches for the rest of the season. And the chancellor and the athletic director said, no, you can't continue coaching Ole Miss. You're the head coach of LSU now. If we allow you to keep coaching Ole Miss, all that is going to be is a showcase for your program in Baton Rouge, and not what we're trying to do here with the Running Rebels.
Yeah.
It was dirty. It was slimy. It's Lane Kiffin. That's who he is, right?
And plus, you know, if he is allowed to stay at Ole Miss, Ole Miss is going to expect him to be recruiting, like you said, with National Signing Day tomorrow. And LSU is going to be expecting him to be recruiting. So what's he do with the recruit on the phone? Well, do I want you to come to Ole Miss or do I want you to come to LSU? That's another problem. I mean, we saw how many coaching hires over the weekend and this week. I think they need to do something to put in a rule to where these coaches can't be hired until the season's over.
It's especially not with the portal, with signing day, with the college football playoff, with conference championships. It's
not
crippling.
It's not fair to the kids.
There it is.
I mean,
It's crippling the kids.
They've coaches put them there, coached them for years, and gotten them to where they are. Is gone, and these kids are rudderless. They're not thinking of the kids, and they say that. Well, number one thing for me is the players. Well,
That's BS.
if you're doing that, you're not thinking of the players, and neither is college football. And
Right.
the NCAA needs to step in and do something about that. You just shouldn't be able to leave a program until your season's over.
Right, and the
You
portal.
can agree to something behind the scenes maybe, but nothing gets officially done until the season's over.
Amen. Amen. This is from Massive JMU Booster. Okay, I'm going to read it verbatim. We were commenting back and forth about the JMU head coach and now the ties to the UCLA job.
Yeah.
Chesney and going across the country to coach a storied program that is down on its luck in UCLA.
Way down.
Way down on its luck. Very similar situation to the previous JMU head coach that went to Hoosierville, to Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana. He says this, long thoughts, maybe you will be intrigued on my global landscape perspective. JMU was underpaying their coach for what they are producing, their coaches for what they are producing, but offered to make both Signetti and Chesney the highest paid Sun Belt coaches plus highest assistant pool plus really good NIL money for a G5 after their second good football FBS season. Prove it for 2 years, then we can pay you more money. However, the top conference G5 money cannot compete with the Power 4 Blue Bloods, as you know. The TV revenue and donor base just cannot compare. When we expand the stadium JMU in 24 months, that will generate some additional funds to help, but that cannot sniff UVA or the bigger programs. College football will be worse when there are no great stories like Boise State, JMU, etc. What fun is college sports when you only have a kid for 1 or 2 seasons max? Those longer are either already at the top 10 revenue schools or they stink. He's talking to players. And Harrisonburg, we say 4-letter words when a kid flashes brilliance because we know he will be gone immediately. And then he talks about the playoffs. He talks about JMU's historical significance of late and where they've come from. Basically lamenting what has come of college football as a JMU fan.
Well, that's the world we live in, and every program, even the Power 5, Power 4, have had to adapt or die. And, I mean, look at Virginia. They didn't take NIL seriously. They weren't all in until this year.
Yeah.
And
Well, they got $30 million.
They stuck their toe in the water last year, and it just didn't move the needle. This year, they went all in. You saw we're reaping the results. Talking about it right here. Virginia Tech did not have that kind of money. We saw what a disastrous season they had. Now they're all in, and they should be able to rebuild their roster. It's just the world we live in, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon unless somebody, I don't know who, has the power to change it. I don't know that the coaches want it changed, at least the Power 4.
Well, and how about this perspective for you? And I'll throw it back to you. UVA, extremely wealthy school.
Yeah.
$15 billion endowment, producing the creme de la creme professionally. Many billionaires with a B in the alumni network.
Yeah.
We're seeing 8-figure anonymous donations on the regular, 7-figure donations on the regular to athletics. The founder of Reddit, massive donation for women's basketball. We got swimming and diving $1 million donations, baseball $1 million donations, 8 figures for football. It's coming squash, multi-million-dollar donations. Maybe this is good for Virginia.
Well, it may be. I mean, it's certainly leveled the playing field for them. We all know how rare it was for them to compete for the league title over since George Welsh retired. I keep going back to, I think it was 2 summers ago when they passed some kind of state legislation that allowed you to compensate players more than, I can't remember all the details of it, but I remember then that somebody said, well, what they've just done is if Virginia wants to be, because of the money, they can be the New York Yankees of college sports. And
they got the horses to do it. They got the money guys to do it.
We're starting to see that. And, you know, if that's what it takes, and Virginia has the alumni that wants to make that happen, then, you know, more power to them. That's probably the only way they're going to be able to compete with the Alabamas and the Ohio States and programs like that, because the other way they were handcuffed.
That's right.
And so was everybody else. And unless you pony up, you're left out in the cold. And that's just the harsh reality of college sports. And I feel bad for some of the lower programs, but JMU, unfortunately, is as great as a program as they've built over there. They're going to be a feeder for. If they have a coach who's done a great job, he's going to be plucked pretty quickly.
Look at Chesney,
Byington, the basketball coach,
Signetti
to Indiana. Players, they're going to go for NIL paydays and play. A lot of them want to be challenged at the Power 4 level. It's just a reality that I don't see changing anytime soon.
I 100% agree with you. I mean, let's take it a step further. Look at Virginia Tech. I think the Hokies are at a significant crossroads. Now they ponied up for James Franklin, and Franklin's already pulling recruits from Penn State. But Virginia Tech does not have the wealth with its alumni base, and they're hundreds of millions of dollars behind with their athletic department. Babcock, the athletic director, went to his board of visitors, said we need to raise $250 million.
Yeah.
Or we're going to have a generational setback with athletics in Blacksburg. $250 million, he asked the Board of Visitors for at Virginia Tech. And they're still in the process of doing this. Where UVA's, we saw it, they flipped a switch.
Yeah.
They literally flipped a switch.
And, it's always an arms race. It's either facilities or NIL money or this or that, coaching staff salaries, whatever, to keep up with the Joneses. And people keep raising the stakes and forcing everybody else to follow along. And, it's a different scenario, but back when Al Groh was here and the ACC expanded and added Miami and some of these other programs, and Al warned the UVA administration that if we don't make some serious changes here to the football program in terms of facilities and dedication and staff, etc., support staff, we're one misstep away from being Duke, and Duke at that point was pathetic. And he was right, and the administration later acknowledged that after watching the football program hit bottom.
John Oliver, Craig Littlepage, lieutenant, acknowledged to you Al Groh was right.
Yeah, he did. And look at Duke. Duke was wretched, and now they're playing in the ACC championship. They've been good for a few years now. They spent $8 million on a quarterback. $8 million.
Who's that? Wasn't he the top? He was the top quarterback in the portal. He was the
he
top guy in the portal.
Yeah, and
$8 million over 2 years.
Yeah, but that you got to play. You got to pay to play.
And that quarterback has Duke in the ACC championship.
Yeah.
I mean, their offense is prolific because of this guy. who came to Durham because he got $8 million over 2 years.
Yeah.
And I can't blame him.
He was second in the nation in passing yards before he played Virginia.
I mean, guys, let's put this in perspective. Virginia's best scorer on basketball, probably what, DeRitter, the post player? He's probably the best scorer on the team.
He's an NBA player.
He's an NBA player. He's a 22-year-old freshman who left professional basketball, was it in Belgium, to come to Charlottesville to play college basketball at UVA because he could make more money and have better quality of life in Charlottesville wearing an orange and blue uniform than playing pro basketball in Belgium.
And
exposure.
And exposure, and it's easier for him to get to the NBA through college basketball here than from the leagues over in Europe. And he's probably making some pretty good money as well.
I would say he's a seven-figure guy.
We even asked Tillis the other day, what's it like? And he said, well, I know I'm not going to get but so much playing time because I'm playing behind an NBA guy.
He's talking about DeRitter?
Yeah. I'm playing behind an NBA player. So,
I mean, Grunlow looks like he could be an NBA player.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 19 years old.
He's 19 years old. He's a kid. DeRitter's a man.
Ugana could be an NBA player.
Ugana, to me, you're the pro here. You're the Virginia Sports Hall of Famer. Ugana, to me, looks like the most NBA upside of all of them.
Yeah, boy.
He can jump. He can run. He's fluid. He can handle. He's only been playing basketball since he was 12.
I think he's leading the nation in block shots.
He's unbelievable. He's not getting much playing time.
No, not a lot, but he's getting enough, and he'll probably get more as we go along. And his offense is starting to come alive a little bit. I mean, he's like a lot of the African players in this country who played soccer most of his life, and then basketball is something that they're trying to improve upon.
Well, he just happened to be 7 foot plus. You can't play soccer at 7 foot plus.
No, not at that size. That's for sure.
This team, we talk about perfect segue in basketball. They got Texas Wednesday?
Texas 6-2.
9:15 ESPNU.
Yeah. They blew out, well, I don't know if they blew out, but they scored over 100 against NC State the other night. So they can put some points on the board. NC State definitely can score. So it's probably going to be a really high-scoring game. I don't know what the over might be on that, but this could be an up-and-down-the-floor game for the whole 40 minutes.
I'm excited for something like that. As a guy who likes basketball play that way, Texas has got 2 losses on the season, 75-60 against Duke in the opener, the season opener. They've also lost to Arizona State by a point, 87-86. To put in perspective how much this team scores, they hung 97 on Lafayette, 93 on FDU, 99 on Rider, 119 they hung on Chaminade, 102 against NC State. This team is scoring in 40 minutes like an NBA team is scoring. This team gets up and down the floor. It's an ESPNU matchup. We will see a high-scoring, high-flying affair. How good is this Virginia basketball team, Hootie? Do we know yet?
I don't think we know yet. I think they're getting better all along. I think Ryan is grooming these kids to get ready for the ACC, and he's using all these non-conference games to experiment to some degree, see what combinations work, who can play under pressure, who can play various positions.
What's your ideal starting lineup?
Well, probably what it is now, except I like Chance as a starter because I think they're a different team with them. They're 100%. More aggressive. They get up the floor quicker and have a little more scoring punch. No shade on Dallin Hall. He's a great distributor, and when he wants to score, he seems to be able to. But I don't think that's going to happen because Ryan likes to bring Chance off the bench because of the energy he brings into the game. It's a burst of aggression, and but I pretty much like the way they're starting things now. But I like the fact that he's got so much depth that he can bring in 2, 3, 4, 5 new players if he wants to, and he rotates them throughout the game. And I like that. I think it's good if you have the guys that can play to play them.
Here, I'm gonna give you some stats here, and you already know these stats. The guy's a stat guy, like I'm a stat guy here. Chance Mallory. And I'll tell you what, the best thing about Chance Mallory locally, every time they talk Chance Mallory in these broadcasts, they're showing St. Anne's Belfield Academy in every show. St. Anne's Belfield is getting so much free press because of Chance Mallory on TV constantly. They've just got to be licking their chops. It's like an abundance of riches for the school that already has an abundance of resources and riches.
Right.
Chance Mallory is third on the team in scoring, 11.3 a game. This is a one that I really love. Chance Mallory is third on the team in rebounding.
That's amazing.
5.4 a game. Was he 5'7", 5'8"? Chance Mallory is second on the team in assists, 2.9 a game. Chance Mallory is first on the team in steals, 2.3 a game. Chance Mallory is shooting 46% from the floor. Chance Mallory is 44% from downtown. Only thing that makes me nervous from time to time, and I think this will change, is him at the free throw line, and he's still hitting 75% of his free throws. And Chance Mallory is doing that while splitting time with Dalen Hall, although he is now logging 24.7 minutes, where Hall is logging 25, so pretty even split on time there. I mean, this kid is a stud. I agree with the comments about him in the starting lineup. I think we will see that eventually as the season progresses. I certainly think this Texas matchup aligns with Chance Mallory's skill sets more than Hall. No shade on Hall. No shade on Hall. Talk to us about other thoughts from you and your notebook on this basketball team.
And not only that, but they can play them both at the same time.
They do,
and they do. And I think Ryan likes to do that. It makes them pretty dangerous. Well, over the last couple of games, we've seen different guys step up and score, and it was cool to see. They had 6 guys that made 3-pointers against Charlotte the other day, Queens of Charlotte. That's incredibly rare. A lot of guys on this team are capable of scoring a lot of points, and I think that just makes them, and is going to make them tougher to beat once the ACC portion of the schedule rolls around. But these guys are they're just solid, and if they lose a game at Texas, it's not a big deal. I'm sure they'll learn some things that'll help them when they get into conference play pretty soon.
Yep.
Against teams like NC State, who like to run the basketball. But I think they're good and getting better all the time. And I think these preseason tests against good teams it's just going to help them.
UVA's first ACC matchup, ladies and gentlemen, is against Virginia Tech on December 31st, New Year's Eve, 2 o'clock tip in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech has got a point guard, if you're not following the Hokies, that's 6'8", 6'9" from Greece, who is a pro player. 6'8", 6'9" point guard that is an absolute animal. They have a handful of games before that matchup, of course, against the Hokies. They got Texas in Austin, 9:15 tip-off on Wednesday evening on ESPNU, followed by Dayton, Maryland, Eastern Shore, Maryland, and American University, with Virginia Tech to close out the calendar. My friend, another show in the books. An hour flies when you're sitting across from someone as knowledgeable as you. Any closing thoughts for the viewers and listeners?
We just really appreciate you guys tuning in every week. We get incredible feedback on Twitter and email and in person from many of you. And like Jerry said, please subscribe to our show and spread the word with your friends. It helps us. Doesn't cost you anything.
That's right.
And we appreciate your help and support. your knowledge, because we have some really smart fans out there.
Amen, brother. We have some very, very smart fans. His name is Jerry Ratcliffe, the namesake of JerryRatcliffe.com. JerryRatcliffe.com, anything football related, anything basketball related, anything National Signing Day related, anything UVA related. The source is JerryRatcliffe.com. And a couple of generations he's been covering this athletic department. Judah Wickower, our glue guy behind the camera. Props to Judah Wickower, always on point. Thank you, Judah. This is the Jerry and Jerry Show, which airs Tuesdays at 10:15ish on our network. The I Love CVille Show, ladies and gentlemen, is up at 12:30 p.m. Thank you for joining us in Solo. Nicely done.
Thank you, brother. Same to you.